Star Trek IV is the perfect chance to finally make up for a disappointment that's been lingering for 16 years. There's been a lot of buzz about this movie, and here are all the latest updates on what's happening with it. Before getting into why Star Trek IV is the perfect opportunity to fix a 16-year-old William Shatner letdown, let's first discuss what's actually going on with this long-awaited sequel. Fans have been waiting for J.J. Abrams' Star Trek IV to finally happen, just to see what's been going on in the Kelvin timeline since Star Trek Beyond hit theaters back in 2016. Another movie in this rebooted universe has always been a major hope. But now, with everything that's happened in the real world, it's even more important that it happens. One big reason is that the entire cast has only grown in prominence over the years, making a potential Star Trek IV even more exciting. Abrams' Star Trek movies have always honored the franchise's past while creating a fresh take on the characters. The Kelvin timeline introduced a new cast for every major character from the original series, though Leonard Nimoy did return as Prime Spock in the first movie. Chris Pine's version of Captain Kirk has had his fair share of adventures that subtly nod to William Shatner's iconic performance. If Star Trek IV ever moves forward, it will likely stick to that same approach, but with some major changes. One thing that makes this sequel even more interesting is that the cast isn't just full of well-known actors anymore. They're now A-list stars. Zoe Saldaña, for example, recently took home an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress thanks to her performance in Emilia Perez. This puts her in an elite club of Star Trek actors who have won Academy Awards, alongside names like Michelle Yeoh, who won Best Actress in 2023 for Everything Everywhere All at Once. That Oscar win was a big deal for Yeoh, especially since it helped her land the lead role in Star Trek. Section 31. If Star Trek IV happens, it should absolutely be Saldaña's big post-Oscar moment within the franchise. This also means that if Star Trek IV moves forward, Uhura deserves to be just as important as Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. The Kelvin timeline has always had an ensemble cast, but Kirk, Spock, and McCoy usually take up most of the spotlight. Saldaña's Uhura has had her moments, but she hasn't been given nearly as much focus as the other major Enterprise crew members. Now that she has won an Oscar, it's only fair that she gets a bigger role in Star Trek IV alongside Pine and Quinto. Uhura has always been an important part of Star Trek, and the original series had standout episodes that put her front and center. More recently, Celia Rose Gooding's version of Uhura in Star Trek Strange New Worlds has been a crucial part of that show's storytelling. Giving Saldaña's Uhura a more prominent role in Star Trek IV wouldn't just make sense, it would fit perfectly with the franchise's history. Plus, it'd be a great way to showcase the skills that earned her that Oscar in the first place. As for the status of Star Trek IV in 2025, it's complicated. The project has been stuck in development limbo for years. Much of the cast and crew from the original reboot trilogy are on board with making another film, but Paramount still hasn't officially greenlit it. At this point, the movie has gone through several writers and directors, and none have managed to push it forward. Some are even calling it the franchise's final chapter, but it's unclear whether that's actually true or just speculation. If Star Trek IV does move forward, the writers will have to figure out how to handle the fact that nearly a decade has passed since Star Trek Beyond. One idea that's been floating around involves a time travel storyline that would bring back Chris Hemsworth as George Kirk. But right now, there's no solid confirmation on whether that's still in play or if they're considering a completely different direction. The longer it stays in limbo, the harder it's going to be to make it work. Ironically, Saldaña's Oscar win could actually make Star Trek IV even less likely to happen. She's already one of the most in-demand actors in Hollywood, and winning an Oscar will only make her schedule even busier. She has been balancing Star Trek, The Maisie U's, and Avatar for years, and with Avatar 5 not set to release until 2031, she's locked into that franchise for the long haul. If she has to choose between an exciting new opportunity and a long-delayed sci-fi sequel, she might decide that Star Trek IV just isn't worth it. And let's be honest, if Star Trek IV happens without Uhura, it's going to feel pretty empty. The Kelvin timeline movies thrive on their connection to the original series, and Uhura has always been a crucial part of that legacy. Sure, the role could technically be recast, but that wouldn't sit well with many fans, especially since Saldaña has been playing the character for so long. There's also the question of what Uhura's role would even be if she did return. In the previous movies, she's been an important part of the crew, but she's never been the main focus. Now that Saldaña has an Oscar under her belt, taking a secondary role in Star Trek IV might not be as appealing, especially if she has the chance to lead other big projects. If she does come back, she deserves a much bigger role than before. As much as Star Trek IV needs to happen, it's hard to say when or if it actually will. The cast is more successful than ever, which is both a blessing and a curse. If the movie finally moves forward, it will have to make some major changes to keep up with where the actors are now. Hopefully, there will be real progress soon, because after nearly a decade of waiting, Star Trek IV is long overdue. On the flip side, Star Trek IV has the perfect chance to fix a lingering disappointment that has been on William Shatner's mind for over 16 years. The legendary actor best known for playing Captain Kirk in Star Trek, the original series, has publicly admitted that he was unhappy with a decision made back in 2009, one that left him out of J.J. Abrams' reboot. While Star Trek Beyond wasn't meant to be the end of the timeline, the long wait for a sequel has made it feel like the franchise is quietly wrapped up. However, if Chris Pine and the rest of the cast return for Star Trek IV, it could be the perfect opportunity to finally address Shatner's